I had twins with my husband in 2010, George and Angus. After 7 months, Angus became acutely unwell and we rushed to emergency, and he was transferred on that same day to Sydney Children's Hospital. You know, we went through a lot of grief at the time because it quickly became apparent that he had a condition which required lifelong specific treatment to survive. Prior to his diagnosis and treatment, he didn't smile a lot. We just thought that was him, his personality, but in fact it wasn't. It was the fact that he was actually feeling quite unwell quite a bit of the time when he was with us at home. Once he was treated here in the hospital, he started to smile and started to be the little boy that I think we really gave birth to, and he's become a happy, smiling boy.
So here I am. I've spent the last few hours with an important person, a lovely lady, Nicola Stokes, who is the CEO of the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation.
Thank you, David. It's been wonderful having you here.
Over the past 2 lunches, we've raised about $350,000. Last year in particular, it was about $250,000.
Yeah.
The target between now and the end of 2018, hopefully with the people in the room,
yes,
is like $1 million.
Wow, wow.
This year, with your guidance, we've looked at the Genetics Centre.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about that in terms of where the funds from today will go to.
Yeah, it's really important. This is about funding the future. And so it's the Centre for Genetics Medicine and the Bright Alliance. So we have a great genetics team here, and they work with very little space and resources and have achieved the most amazing things so far. But what you're able to do, the money that's being raised by Highland Property, is actually giving them a bigger space and equipment and resources to do even more in the whole genetic sphere.
Genetics is one of the fastest growing specialties in medicine, and although we're surrounded by technology, what we're all about is families. And in particular at Sydney Children's Hospital, we look after families where a child's been affected by some severe condition. So unfortunately there are many children with disabilities, with intellectual disability or physical problems, and we work with families to help find out what the cause of the problem is and to help guide treatment for them. There's a huge variety of different problems. Really, we deal with problems that affect every part of the body, and it can be at any age as well. It's not just newborn and little children, it can be older children too. Examples that you might have heard of include things like cystic fibrosis, chromosome problems such as Down syndrome, but there are many, many other ways that you can have a chromosome problem. There's a particular group of children who have what's called epileptic encephalopathy. And unfortunately, this is a very severe condition where epilepsy starts in the first weeks of life, and children usually have severe disabilities and sometimes don't even survive. In the past, we were able to make a diagnosis in really only a few percent, maybe at most 5 or 10% of those children, and the rest of them went without a diagnosis. With the new technology that we've got, we're getting a diagnosis in half, and that makes a huge difference to those families. It's had a really big impact, and we think going forward we'll probably be able to do even better than that. A big part of our department are the counsellors, so we have genetic counsellors who are really important members of our team, and we work very closely with them, and they support families who are going through testing or who already have a specific diagnosis. One of the big things for people when a child's been born with a disability is, why did this happen? And often people blame themselves. They think that it was something that they did or didn't do during the pregnancy that was the cause of the problem. And knowing that there was a specific genetic fault that was the cause of whatever happened to the child, it takes a huge load off the parents, particularly mothers. Mothers often blame themselves for problems that happen for their children. So that's really important. The other thing is that if we can say to a family, look, this has happened, this is the cause, we know why it's happened, but it's not going to happen again, or it's very unlikely to happen again, that makes it possible for them to go ahead with pregnancies, future pregnancies, with confidence.
And so what you're doing by raising the funds and the targets that you have are around making sure that many more children are going to be able to go down that personalised medicine path, and so you're fundamentally making an immediate difference in their health and their life and their family.
to actually just do the tour then of the hospital was just amazing. To see behind the scenes where the money that is actually going to be raised today is going to go. We need to raise a lot of money because a lot of funds are needed.
You know, I've got 3 young kids of my own, so it's obviously dear to our hearts. Having our oldest kid spent 3 weeks in Children's Hospital itself, so seeing the hard work, the dedication that the staff at the hospital put in, and the care not only for the kids but to the parents.
Seen some amazing things on the ward, seen some amazing children, the nurses, the doctors, the research that's been done here is absolutely phenomenal. We're very proud at Southern Waters Legal to support the Blue Lunch. This is our 3rd year running doing that. Hopeful that we raise a lot of money today. Someone with 3 children myself, I can really see the benefit from this.
Real eye-opener today was the tour behind closed doors in the hospital to see what does actually go on to run such a machine, and the care that is taken in ensuring that these children are looked after as best as possible.
All right, so there it is. So a big thank you to all the corporate sponsors that were able to make this morning's breakfast. Personally, it gave me a major insight in terms of where these much needed funds are going to be spent. Today's event is about raising money for the Genetics Centre, which is obviously a big part of Sydney Children's Hospital. Why it's relevant to us is because it affects local families, for anyone that's thinking about kids, or obviously maybe on their way in terms of a pregnancy. It's all very, very relevant, and today was amazing in terms of seeing how they operate and what they're doing. The technology side of things is changing very fast, and I know that the money that we raise today will have a huge impact into the kind of resources that they can purchase and the way they run their hospital. Finally, dig deep. Let's have a huge lunch. Let's have a major day at raising more than $250,000. The big target, and I hope to see everyone back here next year and the year after, the big target between now and the end of 2018 is $1 million towards Sydney Children's Hospital. Thanks again, and thanks to all the staff that were accommodating today in terms of showing us around their hospital and the way they operate. Thanks again. Let's have a huge day.